to my, I don't know what you call it, blog, podcast. Can tell that I'm new to this. I was uh I was reading about making a vlog, and the book said you got to do 100 practice videos before you're ready to make one that you're going to publish. Clearly, I haven't done that. So I'm making 100 practice videos with you, and then I'm just posting them on, I don't care. So things I've learned so far from the past is I rock a lot. So I got to stop that kind of stuff. I pause too long, which is a problem. Although it's because I think before I speak. And you can tell that I'm thinking now. That's not a bad idea. It's not good for the video or for a camera, but it's a good idea for everyday use. Think before you open your mouth and talk. I noticed that some people uh, aren't very good at that. Well, but today I want to talk about the Circlestone project. This is a research project that I've had going on for the past 20 years, I guess, at least. It's a GIS mapping project, and it's an undergraduate research project at the Red Mountain campus. It's the first undergraduate research project. We after this, I was I was sitting and trying to write the MCLI grant. Wyatt. Anyway, I was trying to write this grant, and across the hall was Dennis Wilson. I said, "Hey Dennis, I'm writing a MCLI learning grant. I want 10 grand for going out to Circlestone." He said, "Well, call it undergraduate research, and then they'll fund it." So I did, and they funded it, and then and then shortly after that, we got together with the Red Mountain faculty, Dennis and I, and and a bunch of others, Nicole Cervini. And anyway, we we developed an undergraduate research project, and Nicole took it, and now it's a funded project. It's embedded into the Maricopa Community Colleges. We're a member of CURE or CURE, I don't know, the Council for Undergraduate Research, National Council. And we host their seminars now and then. But it all started with this. And so I was I, I didn't realize that this meant that when I'm doing the the PowerPoint, that I'll show up in this little round circle. That's kind of cool. But I was just doing that the other day. But it all started when I was visiting Koning Wilhelm one college in Den Bosch, Holland. And we were there visiting the college to exchange ideas with the faculty there. And we were learning about their education ideas, and we were learning about theirs. And they were learning about ours. And we were there for, I don't know, a week, I guess, or so. And I was watching, they were restoring this Gothic cathedral here. And I was watching them, the sculptors carving new gargoyles to replace the old gargoyles on the outside of the college. Uh, Great sculptors, artists. And it was Saturday morning, and I was with Dr. Free. And he was the head of the college, the president, and he had this little pub kind of coffee shop thing, where the leaders of the city of Den Bosch, I can't pronounce the name there, Herkengunbosch, but they just shorten it to Den Bosch. It's the home of Hermannius Bosch. He was the Salvador Dali of the Renaissance, if you will. So anyway, we were having coffee at this little bar where the city fathers meet. Just he and I on a Saturday morning. And I spouted out, oh man, Dr. Free, it must be nice to have such a rich historic city to preach, because I've just been watching these great artists, chipping out the stone gargoyles and that. And Dr. Free just looked at me with almost disgust, or maybe it was disgust, and he said, I don't know what you're talking about. You live in Arizona. I mean, you got some of the richest history in the world there. And I walked out of the conversation feeling kind of humbled, because we do. So this was 2003. And so when I came back to the college, I started thinking about, what could I do with my students to get them some hands-on research into the history of the area. And I'd been in a little cafe that had a map of the Superstition wilderness up on the wall, and up in the middle of the wilderness area there was a little thing called Circlestone. So it was spring break, and I decided that I'd go up looking for it. And so we hiked up Trail 109 to Rivas Ranch in the Superstition Wilderness. The 109 trail through the Superstitions is the Arizona Trail. You can see that down on the bottom, that little Arizona. It's the main Arizona Trail. It goes from the Huachuca Mountains on the border of Mexico and Arizona, and it runs up through Arizona to Utah. It's a hiking trail that goes through the entire state, and it happens to go through the Superstition Wilderness. And Rivas Ranch is at the junction of Fireline Trail 118 and the Arizona Trail. And so my son and I hiked up there, and it took us a couple of days to find Circlestone. We walked up the Fireline Trail here, and we got up here on the ridge, and so we kept thinking that we could just follow this ridge up, because there's no map at this time, just the idea that it's up on top of mountain to mountain. So we thought we'd follow this ridge up. Well, it didn't work out very well. We couldn't figure out where we were. Eventually, we were reading a hiking book, and you have to walk back down the ridge to find there's a trail that goes up. And nobody had ever mapped the trail before. And so my son and I mapped it here with GPS. And as far as I know, this is the only published map of the Circlestone Trail. And it's up on the Circlestone website. And it goes up to this knoll here. Hitting too many buttons. This knoll here, right here, which is on a bench, this bench here of Mountain to Mountain. So Mountain Mountain's 6,266 feet. Circlestone is at 6,010. So a couple hundred feet down from the peak on this ridge. And here's Revis Meadow, where my son and I made a base camp. And this is, I think, 4 peaks from Circlestone. The idea was to map in GIS format this well, I think it's a medicine wheel. In 1984, I think a Apache Junction school teacher named Tom Collenborn did a research expedition up there, and and he drew a map. They had a compass, and he drew a map of the ruin and took some pictures. So in this picture here, the color picture is from an expedition we did in 2005, but it's, pretty, it's dry stacked volcanic tuft. I used to say sandstone, but it's not sandstone. I was given this presentation at the Usury Market Mountain Park, and when A.J. Lombard, I said sandstone, and a geologist, he spouted out, "It's not sandstone, Bruce. It's volcanic tuft." So I bow my head to the geologist who set me straight. Looked like sandstone to me. But so we took 8 expeditions up to the site over the years from 2003 to 2012. And then I've sent students up since 2012. But these are the 8 expeditions that are recorded for undergraduate research on the site. I haven't built the future expeditions. I think it was 2018 and 19 that I sent students up looking for some more medicine wheels. But 8 projects that students took up there. And the MCLI project was set for 2006 when Dennis and I took these 4 students up to collect data. We packed in the camp. That's a whole nother story. I don't know if I'll get to it here in this thing, but Louis Parole and I packed in a camp for the students. The students had to walk in. I wasn't allowed to have the students ride horses in, according to my grant application. So here's a Revis Meadow at the top of the Superstitions. It's Elijah Revis's mountain valley. He was the hermit of the Superstition Mountains. He handsome fella. He would take his he grew vegetables up there, and he would take his vegetables down into Florence to sell them, and down into Mesa and Phoenix. But the Florence paper wrote that people didn't want to buy his vegetables because he smelled so bad. You couldn't hardly get close to him. Anyway, one night he found himself surrounded by Apaches up there, and he is a well-educated solitude kind of guy. And anyway, he stripped himself naked, and except for his boots and a pair of six shooters, and he holstered and he ran out of his cabin down through the meadow there and the orchards. Yeah, he grew apples and firing in the air and shouting all kinds of things. And the Apaches, stunned by this unexpected expedition or exhibition, decided he was completely crazy and taking his life might be a harm to their people. And they decided to leave this crazy guy alone up in their mountains. Said the old recluse was driven into exile by disappointment in love, but he never said so. Nobody else ever found out, could have known the facts. He rarely visited civilized haunts. He refused to let a woman enter his cabin or allow anyone to come to his home in his mountains. But he was a great scholar and a reader, and he possessed a cave and the library of his books. And some people have assumed that Circlestone was built by him. He was a Scot, a Celt, and Celts make round Circlestone things. But I don't think Elijah made it. His grave is on the trail, 109 trail going up to Circlestone. Down here in the corner here is his what the gravestone looked like when Elijah or when Tom Collenborn went up. Here's what it looked like when a couple of times when I went up to look at it. But his grave is there. He is about halfway up to Revis Meadow. Said he died going back to his cabin. And so the trail looks kind of like this. Anyway, when we took the students up there, I had to send them up to Circlestone. This is on the Fireline Trail. I sent them up first because they could hike a lot better with equipment than me. And then I followed them up later. It takes me a lot longer to get anywhere than it takes them. So anyway, this map is a combination of Tom Collenborn's map of the circle. He mapped this circle all the way around and this square thing in the center, but he didn't map these spokes or these, I don't know, pits or whatever they were. And so I tried to map them, the spokes, and fit them onto Collenborn's map here. He is very accurate. He has the measurements of it, and all of that, and elevation, latitude and longitude, and legal description. Problem was his compass wasn't set for declination. And when I tried to map this by stepping and, these spokes didn't hit the circle where I thought they should hit the circle. Like this one here, I thought should have hit the circle about here. And it just didn't work out. It didn't make any sense. So we did map the circle here. And so we We took a topographic map, and then we took a satellite image and georeferenced it and put it on top of the topographic map with the trail that we'd already mapped up to the site. And so here's that thing. So then I had a helicopter take a picture of the site. And then I superimposed this georeferenced picture on top of it. And then we mapped it using the georeferenced picture. And it turns out, of course, that his compass, not set for declination, didn't have this kind of flat wall on the east side. It goes straight north and south. It isn't tilted 14 degrees. So while the students were up there, we mapped, we stretched out, gridded with strings, 10 meter square quadrants, I guess, or whatever, and to measure and to check and all of that. And we came up with this map of the vegetation and the walls and the fallen stone and all of that. So then Jennifer and Dennis, she was a biology student. They took increment bores of all of the trees inside the ruin and outside the ruin. And it turned out that the trees on the inside of the ruin were older than the trees outside the ruin. You can't tell the age of alligator juniper because they don't put on rings except when the climate is reasonable for them to put on a ring. So you can't measure years like you can with other trees, with alligator juniper by counting the rings. But you can tell relative ages. And the trees inside the ruin, inside the circle, are older than the trees outside the circle. So my only hypothesis is that fire must have gone through here and then the walls of Circlestone, kept the fire from burning the trees inside. Then a couple of years ago, the Woodbury fire burned across here. I haven't been back up to Circlestone, nor have I had anybody go back up there to see. But a fire did pass over the site a couple of years ago, and I'd really like to go up and see if the trees on the outside were affected by the burn, and the trees inside the ruin weren't. But like I say, we haven't been back there. So anyway, this is the map that we came up with of the Circlestone ruin. And it's clearly a medicine wheel. Whatever else it is, it's a medicine wheel. And it doesn't belong here. Most medicine wheels, if you read the Alice and Tom Kehoe's work on medicine wheels, they're the famous medicine wheel in the Bighorn Mountains, which is much smaller than this, nowhere near as elaborate as this, but it's the most famous, is in the Bighorn Mountains in Wyoming. And most medicine wheels that we find that Native Americans have made are in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and the furthest south ones, in South Dakota and Wyoming. So it's unusual for us to have this down here in the superstitions, at least according, I don't know, there could be many more that the Kehoes, didn't find, but they didn't include this one in their research. And it's much more elaborate. The walls are 3 foot thick and 3 foot high, and most medicine wheels are just on the ground. So just a lot different. So anyway, with the map, we tried some solstice markers. Collenborn tried it too, but the problem, of course, was that his map was skewed. And so there was a New Zealand scholar who did a big paper using Collenborn's map on astro projections from the site. And of course, all of his work, having never visited the site or anything, was just his junk. But what we did find out is that summer solstice is here and winter solstice is here and sunrise equinox is here. And so this flat wall measures, the solar year. Más o menos. When you stand here in this circle and look west, the sun sets directly on the peak of Tortilla Mountain, which astroarchaeologists call this a horizon marker. So whatever else Circlestone is, it's a calendar, and it measures the solar year. I've always wanted to impose it in our planetarium and then go back in time and all of that and do stellar thing, but I haven't been able to do that. Maybe somebody at Mesa Community College would like to take this and do it someday. I'm not going to. So here's the lintel. And here you can see equinox sunset directly on the peak of Tortilla Mountain. I don't know what the lintel is, but summer solstice, we didn't see any horizon markers for sunrise. This is a picture we took in 2005, Dennis and I, trip up there. This one of my students took, and there is a peak here that behind Mountain, and so the winter solstice sunset, there seems to be a marker. So there's that. Here's the Superstition Mountain from there, and the Usury Mountains over here. So here's Superstition Mountain. Here's Tortilla Peak. Here's the Usury Mountains. This is the desert floor. And that's Tempe Town Lake. So we did another map of the view window between Superstition Mountain and the Usury Mountains. And from Circlestone, the view window is right down onto the city of Phoenix. I mean, that's downtown Phoenix right there. This is Pueblo Grande Museum. This is the Mesa Grande Pueblo archaeological dig. This is our Red Mountain campus. And so it looks down onto the Hohokam civilization. And so that's that. This is the Hohokam Canal map, 1929 map superimposed on top of it. city of Phoenix. We still use many of these canals that the Holcomb built 1,100 years ago. Más o menos. So maybe the Hohokam were agricultural people. Maybe Circlestone told them when to plant. I don't know. And then we did a map of all of the ruins that we could find around Circlestone within about a 5-mile radius. Another student, Chris something or other. Anyway, he went into the Tonto National Forest Archives. Archaeological archives. And we mapped all of the ruins. And sure enough, we found this map by Charles Vernon in the archive, and he recorded that he found another stone circle up here in Paradise Overlook. Here's Circlestone. Here's Paradise Overlook. So we thought we ought to go there and map that one. This is Rogers Ruin. If we go back here, Rogers Ruins are here. And so when we went into Paradise Overlook, the team went this way up rather than this way up to Circlestone. We went past Rogers Ruin. And so here's Rogers Ruins. They're cliff dwellings in the thing. And if you climb up, into the cave and look in there, here's the a building inside the cave. This is recorded as the Salado Indians. And here's Charles Vernon's sketch of Paradise Overlook that he made in 1993. It says 70 meters here, but it's not 70 meters. It's 50 feet. I don't know. He probably stepped it out in feet, and then when he made the map, he was thinking like a scientist and he put meters. I don't know. But anyway, isn't that accurate? But I sent a couple of guys up there, Jake Colpitts and his brother, and they did this map of Paradise Overlook. And they just did this by stepping and measuring, by and guessing, kind of making the map. They did a good job. I was really, really impressed. And they captured this sunrise photo on equinox right at the peak, at this peak right here. So there's definitely her horizon marker at sunrise, and sunrise should be looking this way, right? East. So here's our map made with GIS. And you can see that, those guys stepping it out, they were pretty accurate. They really did a good job. And so that's Paradise Overlook. This is the medicine wheel in the Bighorn Mountains, the most famous medicine wheel. It has a solar alignment, and it's a national monument. But as you can see, it's nowhere near as sophisticated as Circlestone. It's got a lot more spokes, though, but it's nowhere near as large. And then a student looking on Google found this, and it appears to be a circle of stones. It's on top of Pinto Peak, but we haven't ever been there. Uh, uh, it's way too rough for me to get to, and and no students have done it and gone up to see if it is another medicine wheel. Here are this different kind of subgroups of native medicine wheels that the Kehoes recorded. Uh, so Circlestone appears to be, I don't know which subgroup. If it was Coleman born, it was this, and I guess maybe this, except for that square is definitely a square in Circlestone. This square. But that's it. Been working on this project for a while. It's been a lot of fun. It's a beautiful place. It's a mystical place, I think. I took Dennis here up there one time in 2005, just he and I up there, and he took some of these pictures. And I told him, you know, Dennis, if you walk around a stone circle, the Celts believe that if you walk around a stone circle counterclockwise 3 times at the time between times, people will say that, you know, you disappear and go off into a spirit land. So Dennis did on summer solstice, walked around 3 times at sunset. He said, "Look, nothing happened to me. I didn't disappear." I said, "Well, Dennis, it's because you don't have any faith." But this is my Paradise Overlook team. We went up there through the Rogers Ruin to get it. But it's a mysterious circle in the Superstition Mountains. Definitely a calendar. I'm pretty sure it's a medicine wheel, probably built by the Hohokam. But it's in a wilderness area. So there's no digging, no archaeological, there's only surface things to do in the Superstition wilderness. This red line is the border of the wilderness. And there are 2 medicine wheels up there, and maybe more. So this is a website to the Circlestone. I don't think you can see that unless I stop share. Stop share and do another share and say share that. Try that. And now you can see my home page, and there is under research projects is the Circlestone project. Main Circlestone maps. A little description of them. And there is the expeditions. And each expedition is recorded as to what happened. My son Matthew and I, this on the first expedition when just Matthew and I went, we found this stone here. And Matt found it alongside the Circlestone Trail. And it looks just like the map. Here's Mound Mountain and the down, and then here's Circlestone. It looks just like the topographic map. Pretty pretty scary. And it's just right, just down the trail, a little ways from Circlestone on the edge of the Circlestone Trail. Like it was saying, here's Circlestone. There was a big fire. Here's what the lintel looked like in 1984. Collenborn's map picture. Here's what it looks like today. Hikers have rebuilt it. This is stuff you should not do. Do not do this kind of stuff. These are treasures. Here's Collenborn's map. Here's my attempt to put spokes in it. Didn't work. Here's what Matthew looked like after being my mule. He carried the heaviest pack up there in 2003. He was not very happy. And you can click these and go to every expedition that we took with a description. Here's when Dennis and I went to pave the way for the students. And I got dehydrated, pumping water out of this creek, passed out, and had to be helicoptered out. But that's Louis Perel. He said I'd never have to hike in there again. He'd always take me in with his mules. And so this is Louis. Louis and my trek up there to check and see how do we get the camp in there. Here's the students from the 2006 expedition and a description of them and stuff. This is a Colby who went up in the winter and got that winter solstice photo with his buddies. He went on horseback. And it's Paradise Overlook, Jake's map. And then our expedition to make the real map of Paradise Overlook. So there's that. So Circlestone GIS Mapping Project. If you're going up for a hike, give me a shout and I'll send you maps and ask you to collect some data for me. If you're interested in climbing Pinto Peak, to see what that ruin is and take some pictures up on top there, contact me. You can contact me here through the website. And Bruce Peterson. This voiceworld.com will take you to this website. It's about the White Pine Forest. And then this is just, notice voicewld.com. And then that will take you to me. So a lot of ways to get to me for the information. See you next time. Glad the dogs managed to behave for a change. And I don't know what we'll do next time, but there'll be a next time. So thank you for visiting me again.